Welcome, gang, to the latest TMG interview, talking movies with good people. And that's just what I have circling the table here in the Admirals Club. Paul Preston here, welcoming a return guest to the show. She appeared back in 2016 when she was promoting her show Women Rule Broadway. She's back with a new show, and it's more irreverent. We'll get to the bottom of that. And she's brought along her co-writer and director, a guy I've wanted on this show for some time, a guy who I, if his Facebook rants are to be believed, disagree with on most every movie, so this will be fun. Together, the new show they're launching is Les Miz and Friends, and we'll get the full scoop on it with Geneviéve Flati. How'd I do?
You nailed it. You just said it
Boom!
weird.
And Nathan Makaryk.
Wait a minute.
That was a Windows chime right there. That was
really
Why did he get the...
Well, you got it as a duo. I had to complete the duo.
I'm on my own.
They knew to wait.
No.
You know, the name, you like to just go by G a lot of the
Yeah.
times, right? Give it up for G Flati.
God damn it.
No?
Flutty.
G Flati.
Flutty.
So, the new show is Les Miz and Friends, referred to as, in 2019, the greatest musical of all time returns for the 8 billionth time. Yeah, that's true.
That's correct.
So it's time you did something different with it.
Yes.
What have we done? Tell us about the show.
Les Miz and Friends is primarily a human production of Les Misérables. So a genuine, legit, real production of Les Mis that is taken over by an army of angry puppets. And
As it should be.
As it should be. And it's both... it's both an homage to Les Mis in that we do a lot of it correctly, and we show some of the songs as they should be, but it's also a deconstruction. So we take the things that we think are incorrect about the plot, or plot holes, or just problems in it, and the puppets are the things that notice that, and they just start tearing it to pieces. And as the show gets further and further on, the puppets effectively throw their own revolution and put on the show the way they want to, and then we totally change songs into something completely different, and it just deteriorates as it goes.
Yeah.
When the puppets come in, do they continue to sing everything, or do they take a break and call it out as this is just dumb?
Both. Yes.
Yeah. I think it's different from a lot of, I guess, what you would say is the connotation of parody, where we're not just like spaghetti and sex and things now here.
Right. We said fart. It's a parody.
Yeah.
We actually go about it as writers and say, this is what doesn't work plot-wise. This is what doesn't work character development-wise. We come about it as, for like the women's perspective of, these characters suck, and why does everyone claw over themselves to get into this show and to play these roles, to sing this song, which if you listen to the lyrics are terrible.
Yeah. And like the show itself.
Wait, let me just say, that song didn't make it into Women Rule Broadway. No,
It
not so much.
didn't.
The show has more, I think, of its own internal narrative than most parodies do.
Yeah.
Most parodies are, again, just let's make this character gay for no reason.
Right.
How it's funny now. He's got a tutu on.
Right.
That kind of stuff. I don't think flies the way that it should. So our parody is still its own show. It's got absolutely its own through line the whole way.
But we do, Nate and I both said this, when we decided to do Les Mis, we were both like, I hate this show. And now that we're on the outside of it, we're like, we love parts of Les Mis.
Yeah, do you love it?
Well-
Or are you looking forward to smashing it? It sounds like both.
Well, yeah, and I think that's actually like part of why we want to do what we do is because there is a lot of Les Mis that just doesn't make sense in our mind, or problems with the casting or whatever. And yeah, doing this show makes me love Les Mis more because we do the parts that are good and we cut out the parts that we don't like. So so I haven't heard some of the songs that we hate for years.
Right. And if you did that on a national tour, people would go, well, what the hell's going on here? But you can do whatever you want.
That's correct.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I was talking about that with someone the other day. Your airplane, even up to Hot Shots, kind of, but certainly Top Secret, the Naked Gun movies. Oh, hey, we could just do the thing where everything's a joke.
Yeah.
No, you can't. Those are very difficult. Proven by the fact that all the ones that fell in its wake, your superhero movie, Meet the Spartans, all that stuff, just are awful.
Yeah.
And it just shows you how hard it is to do that. So I'm glad you're digging deep, because that's how I think why they win. They make it look easy, but they really dug deep to make this or that joke or this or that reference.
No, absolutely. Yeah, there's no heart in those movies, right? Like it's just Charlie
just
Sheen shooting a chicken. Like it's and it's not saying that's not bad, but we have absolutely serious moments in this scene.
do.
We have
Okay.
a lot of there's sections where we really ground in and say, okay, this is good.
This is we have a few where like we actually do the show where like if you were to see this, you'd be like, wow, that's Les Mis. They're doing it with the full harmonies, everything, the power of it. We have serious moments. We address things. You feel for these characters. So I think it's the difference of I would say Simpsons, where it goes wacky and zany, but you care about what happens to Homer. Like if he's sad and had those moments where he was sad, you really felt for him. Same with like Rick and Morty. You really feel for Rick when he's going through stuff, as opposed to Family Guy and South Park, where you're like, fuck you, Cartman, la 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 la. Where they're both comedically valuable, but there's only one where you also felt those moments with those characters, even though it was silly. And so I think we do that.
Not to say that we are dissing Family Guy or
No,
South
they're
Park,
great.
'cause those are like
Amazing.
No,
No,
South
the
Park,
point
certainly.
is like when something emotionally bad happened to Homer, you felt for him. Whereas with Peter, you knew that literally the next scene he was going to be fine.
They set their ground rules. I mean, South Park doesn't give a
Yeah.
shit about anybody, and it's refreshing as hell.
It is,
but certainly, when you watch Lisa Simpson, you want her to win.
Yeah.
You know, Homer might win or not win, but certainly not due to any effort he put out.
yes.
So,
But
like,
the family has heart, whereas South Park, they just will blow up the world and not give a shit.
right.
they're different, comedically valuable. I'm just saying that
And you went the
ours
heart route.
Has
We went
That's cool. Hey, there's something about Mary, one of my favorite movies of all time, comedy-wise. When at the end of that movie, Ben Stiller's just bawling his eyes out, and you forget that, this whole wacky adventure could have an effect on his feelings. And then they do, and then you just gotta go, oh my God, the poor guy. And then he slips on a banana peel or something crazy.
Well, and to be able to do that with puppets is like an extra joy, because when the
yeah.
puppet gets sad and everyone has to feel for the puppet, and then a second later he can be like fart or whatever, like that's because puppets can just do things that you can't do as humans. Like you can get away with so much more. You can twist on a dime with a puppet that you can't do as an normal actor.
As comedians, and I think anyone that's kind of involved in the comedy world will agree with this, there's a phenomenon that happens with cartoons and puppets are essentially just real life cartoons. They apply by almost the same rules of physics as well as the same logic, where because they're actually not real, there's a level of acceptance and makes it more palatable for an audience to listen to maybe harsher things. So like there's a reason why Avenue Q is the only musical where they say everyone's a little bit racist and everyone's like, bah! Whereas if it was just two
If
dudes.
Barbershop Quartet and Hello Dolly did that, you'd go, this is different.
And it's the same thing even
Not the choice I would have made.
with Matt Stone and Trey Parker. If it was two white dudes in their 40s being like, these are the reasons why society's fucked up, everyone would be like, fuck those guys. But because it's a bunch of little kids and it's a cartoon, you're like, oh, so there's
That's
this
true.
level of, it makes it just more acceptable. And we feel that freedom as comedians to be like, wow, we can say and do all of these really serious and crazy things as well as super silly and dumb things.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of, I mean, even going back to like the format of the show, like it's, we have human performers and puppet performers. The human performers are always the straight man. Like the human performers are always serious. They're always on. The puppets are the ones that can improvise and react to the audience and go off the rails. And for exactly that reason, because the humans are trying to do Les Mis with heart, and the puppets are the ones that can do whatever they want.
And the puppets are in the world with the humans.
Yep.
Like, say what you want about Happy Time Murders. I didn't love it. But the concept of them all living together, people and
Yes.
puppets without
Yeah.
any blinking,
Yes.
really, they're just puppets.
Yeah, definitely no one, we never call out at any point in the show, no one ever says, wait, is that guy a puppet? That doesn't happen. It's just accepted that puppets
That
for some
puppets
reason live there, yeah.
Come in and take over for a major role in
Yeah.
the show. And it's like major roles.
It's the main roles.
Yeah, it's
Jean
the main
Valjean
roles.
is played
Jean
by
Valjean.
a puppet, and then eventually
Lovely.
The
more
Thénardiers,
puppets. More
yeah.
puppets just pop in and start randomly replacing roles, and eventually it's explained why.
I think when I was poking around to look for information on your show, I found Cookie Monster doing. Have you seen Cookie Monster do Les Mis?
Oh, yeah. So-
Sesame Street did
Yeah.
that thing. I think it was him or Grover.
Yeah,
one of them.
they did.
He was blue.
Sesame
Yeah.
did a good one. That was like I forgot what it was.
I forgot what it was too. But all I can think of is Game of Chairs that they did, which was the Game of
Yeah.
Thrones
Okay.
parody
And
that
they
they
did
did, and it was so
the Goblet
good.
of Cookies or something. Yeah.
Key and Peele did a 5-minute one
And
on
then
Les Mis once.
SNL just did it with John Mulaney as hosting. It was a reprise
okay.
as it was the lobster singing "Who Am I?"
Oh, yeah.
like literally just like last week. So
I didn't see that one. But I mean, there's other than those, there really isn't much in the world of like actual parody on Les Mis. Like there's never been like a show as far as we know that's
Wow,
legit. Like
'cause
we've seen like there's
right
there.
We'll see like there's like
doing.
5 minutes here and there. Like people will do a song
Yeah.
like, on YouTube that's changed, but as far
but
as
not
the
a show.
goes,
Yeah, I saw one that was Les Mis and Frozen. or something
Oh,
mixed
yeah.
together. Dude, you want to build a barricade?
That's for
Yeah, people will do songs to like reference it because it's incredibly famous. But as far as tackling the show as a whole, no,
Yeah.
because we looked at the score. The score is 414 pages of music, which is a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, because even I didn't see it. I kind of came into all these long-running Broadway musicals as an adult, so I saw it later in life. I didn't see it till I lived out here in L.A., and then finally went to see it. And, they don't need to sing everything. They goof on that a lot. It's true, because it's just like, hello, and are you feeling well? I mean, it would still have to be sung. It doesn't have to be, but I understand the whole idea.
There's
but
a saturation point where
there
you're like,
is.
just...
There is.
God, what was it? I saw another show where they were like, "Quick, put those chairs over there." And
Yeah.
it wasn't a song; it was literally just sung, and I was like, "Whoa!"
And when it's a song, that's fine. But yeah, in those interstitial things, now we're all walking outside.
And
It just waters
let
down
it
when
go.
there is a song,
Yeah.
I think. You know?
Yeah.
But still, the movie or the play, musical, weaves this magic spell, because Karen had seen it before, my wife, and she was sitting next to me, and I was watching for a little bit, and I guess it's right when the priest sort of covers for Jean Valjean that he had stolen something, and I go, "Oh, that's pretty cool." I look at Karen bawling. She's straight bawling already. Like, watch this like 10 minutes into the thing. And she's
Well,
like,
I mean, and that's part of. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why we latched onto it, is because it's so lovable. You know, because it's like we're not in the game of punching down. Like, we want to, if we're going to take something down, we want to take something that is loved and respectable, so that we can say,
"Oh, this will rise
let's take it
above
down."
your taunts." You know.
Oh yeah, we're not going to actually hurt.
Star Wars
clearly.
rises above the taunts that it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not going to break this
And-
long-running deal.
And I think the important thing to note is that people who love it are still going to love our parody. Like, it's not so disrespectful that people are going to be like, "No, you can't do that to Les Mis."
Well, I have that in words from the OC Register. The show is at least twice as good as anything the Pythons or Second City ever cooked up.
Which is what I grew up on. So
Damn.
when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, that's the best compliment I can get."
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And that's, kudos to the writing. That's just the two of you, right?
Yep.
Cool. But let's go over the cast. So you're both in it.
Correct.
Yar.
I love me some Kevin Garcia. He's in it, right? And I saw that he
Yes.
plays Cosette, which is
plays
just
Cosette.
fantastic.
He really kills it, because then actually in our first, when we started writing, we did our first version of this show back in 2017, almost exactly 2 years
Let's
ago
keep bringing that up
now.
at the Maverick. Yeah, that's where that review
Yeah.
came from.
And we
So-
did 6 weeks. We sold out every show. We oversold shows. Sorry, Mario Marshall. We were sitting on the stairs. It was great. It was super fun. And when we did our first version of the show, we actually wrote Cosette to be like, we wanted to cast one of our big guy friends that was like, he's like 6'4" or whatever, and he was like 250 pounds, big dude, and we wanted to give him just like a tiny little hand puppet, and we were like, oh, that's just gonna be so funny if it's just this dude. It's got this blonde curls and it's just like me kind of deal. But then in the midst of us ordering puppets and stuff, one of our puppet builders like delivered something to us late,
Yeah.
and he was like, here, take this puppet, this other one that I made as a gift for being so late on your order, and it was the nugget that was Cosette, and we were like, oh, we have to use this puppet. It's so funny.
Yeah.
She has no arms, no legs. She's literally just like a
little potato.
A potato with hair, and her eyes are super bulgy. She's
And
banana.
she's got the most terrifying mouth open.
I
Is that what?
love it.
And that's on your for anyone watching
yes.
on
Well,
YouTube.
Cosette.
That is-
there on
Yeah.
the poster. It's frightening as
She's
hell.
this big beaker mouth, essentially, with these 2 buck teeth, and we love her. And Kevin came in, and we didn't really give anybody direction. He just came in and auditioned, and we were like, why don't you read for Cosette? And he was so funny that we were like, that's it. I don't want to give too much of it away.
Yeah.
But he came in and we're like, that's it. That's Cosette. And we made a bunch of changes, and it was
That's
so,
our Hitler. Producers.
We set a blonde wig on her.
We
put
said
her,
that, and it was weird.
It's our
Weird.
Hitler.
That didn't apply at all.
We're gonna change the role.
It's a great
but-
line.
So Kevin's amazing, and last time we did the show, everyone was like, "Cause that's our favorite character. You
Yeah.
two can go fuck yourselves."
Like, he could be on he could
wow.
be in a scene and say one
But I
line, and
wrote it
everyone
and
walks
directed
away is like, that, because that was the best.
that was the best.
That was the one.
Yeah.
Cool. And
But-
who else in the show?
So we're also returning from our 2017 run is Haley Tweeter as Fantine and Gavroche. We're super happy to have her.
Yeah, she's a killer operatic
Yeah.
soprano. Like she sings so much in the show, and she sings 2 major songs in the show. And she nails them.
And I mean, again, going back to what the show is, like, we have to have a cast that would theoretically be good enough to actually do legitimate Les Misérables. And so to have a singer like Haley who like kills the
Kills it.
songs, and who then also turns around and puts a puppet on and is freaking hilarious there too, is like,
I know.
can't get better. Like, it's everything we
It's
need.
perfect. She's adorable. Her Gavroche is so cute.
Yeah. Clearly a girl playing Gavroche is the little boy.
The little boy,
Little
yeah,
boy. Yeah.
Giants in the Sky? Wait, I'm getting my musicals messed up.
No. That little pup, when a pup
That's
grows
right,
up.
yeah. That's right, the Cockney French kid.
Yeah.
Cockney French kid.
Please tell me you goof on that, too.
We don't make a big point on that one, although we do in some of our promo materials.
Some of our,
sequel.
we have a little web series, not web series, kind of web series coming out soon as promo, and it's if you go to our Instagram, that's where it's going to be mostly posted, starting pretty soon, a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we'll
that's,
readdress that.
is that the same as the Twitter, which I love, which is Les Miz AF?
Les Miz AF.
'Cause it's totally Les Miz as fuck,
as
bro.
fuck.
Also,
Yeah.
and friends.
And friends.
Also,
Yeah.
and friends.
That was an accidental acronym that we
I loved it.
absolutely latched onto.
I saw that, I was like, that's
but
great.
no, Instagram is Les Miz and Friends, Twitter is Les Miz AF, and we don't know
Facebook
why.
is Les Miz and friends.
Correct.
As well. Cool. Yeah, and your social's fun. You get all sorts of stuff up
We
there.
do.
But the current run is at the Hudson Theater,
Yeah.
April 5th through May 11th.
Yes.
Mostly Fridays and Saturdays. There's one Sunday in there, right? On the 8th?
Right now we have 0 Sundays. We have a random Wednesday.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
Wednesday.
And
sorry.
that's intended for other people who are doing shows, so that people who are in
Other
productions
local actors who
can come see them.
Yeah.
I got a show on Friday and Saturday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I want to see it.
yeah,
Well, that's
yeah.
cool.
We've all lived that life as co-actors and co-comedians and writers, and you're just like, oh, I'm always performing. Do you not have any matinees that we can go to?
Yeah.
And so, but how long have you guys been working together? Because I met these two. We do a show down in Orange County, which, by the way, you talked about it being oversold down in Maverick. That's in Fullerton, California.
Yeah.
We do this improv show down there, and it's always worth going down there for any show because you're going to get a full house.
Yeah.
Up here, people struggle to get like 20 people in the house. We make the drive to Orange County, and these shows get audiences. People are
Yeah.
starving for stuff to do. They go out and they have fun.
Yeah.
They get out of their houses, and they like seeing comedy and theater and shows, and so those shows were packed down there. But when I met you two, you already had a history. How long have you guys been
So
friends?
when did you came to the Maverick?
I came to the
and-
Maverick.
It's like
in
you're the friends in Les Mis and
two-
Friends.
Aw.
The first time was, I think it was the 2010 like winter version of Hamlet.
Okay.
And I came because a girl that I used to perform at Disneyland, and a girl that I performed with at Disneyland was like, I'm in this show. So people go support each other at Disneyland.
Was that at the Maverick?
It was.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
in the same.
This Maverick place, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Bringing people together.
I mean, usually, when someone comes in to the Maverick, then I'm always like, oh, this person is more than just a performer. This is a person who's like who needs to produce, who like is going to be helpful behind the scenes. I'm usually like, I want to keep you around. I need to help.
Yeah.
And so she was like that, and then like a month later, she moved away.
It wasn't a month later. So yeah, I was brought in, and I think and I'd never really done improv before. I came from musical theater, but I was starting to branch into comedy, and then I came to that show.
And a circus, though. No shortage of...
Well, circus was after I met them.
Yeah, she came to Maverick first, then
And
ran
then
away
I ran
for the
away.
circus.
So-
Then
That's where you
came
get
back
your
years
improv
later.
kind of
Yeah,
kick
it really was. Nate was the first person really to be like, no, you're not a good actor. You're funny. Those are different things. I was like, okay.
Laying
and
down some truth, Nate.
So he and another person that we were working with at the time were like, we're going to bring you in. And I think within 8 days, they had put a puppet on my hand and put me on stage in a Puppets versus People improv show. And I think I saw one Schmimprov show, and they're like, you're going to be in it next week as a puppet. I'd never puppeteered before. I'd never done improv before.
You've never puppeteered before?
I'd never done
Wow.
any of that. It was all brand new.
You guys seem so ingrained in it. How about, have you done a ton
Yeah.
of
I
puppeteering?
mean, I had not been doing it heavily until before 2010. I had started putting in puppets into my shows that I was producing. So like in 2009, maybe I did Treasure Island at the Maverick, and I incorporated these giant puppets like into it. Like Ben Gunn was this little creepy puppet, and I had this character Blind Pew, another pirate with this giant puppet you had to wear on your shoulders. So I had already been getting into the kind of the puppetry theatrical world before that. But no, not earlier than that in life.
But haven't you done a Harry Potter one, too?
So eventually I fell in love with this world of improv comedy, and it just shaped my life. And then I went off to the circus for a few years. And then when I came back, we immediately picked up right where we left off, where we were still doing shows at the Mav, still doing a bunch of things. And when I came back from the circus, a boy that we both knew named Danny Montooth, who is an amazing puppeteer and who I'm working with on Stupefy, the Harry Potter puppet parody, he was like, hey, we're having auditions right now for Disney Junior Live on stage. They need puppeteers. I know you can puppeteer because I trained you before you left. Come audition. So I auditioned, and I was trained by two of the best puppeteers I've ever worked with, which is Art Vega and Danny Montooth. Art Vega's from The Muppets, for God's sake.
Never heard of them. What are you talking about?
I hate you. And so they were the best. And so I got crazy technical puppet training. And so I finally was able to catch up where Nate was because he'd been about puppeteering for maybe 5 years. And so very quickly I was like, okay, now I have all this training. And then I also started to puppeteer at the Henson Company in 2015. So he and I now are like, we're puppeteers. Yeah.
Hey, that's how it is. I mean, I got into video production just by starting to do it. I mean, this was back early 2000s, right when you could get $3,000 worth of film stock for $4.99 and a small mini DV tape. I'm like, well, I'm going to, because that's kind of what kept me from doing it up till now.
Sure.
And next thing you know, I got my own production company, and people think I'm legit. I guess I am, and I guess you are. So there we are. We're all
that's
legit.
Kind of our style, because for Harry Potter Puppet Parody, which is the series that I wrote, that I'm doing over at another studio, it's the same idea as Les Mis, where I love Harry Potter. I love the books. I'm going to be super serious. I love the books. The movies hurt my soul on 1,000 levels, and I recognize that.
All of them?
Yeah, all of them. You want to fight? You want to fight
I wanna
about
listen.
this? We'll talk about it.
I've seen 2 of those.
Shut up. You don't deserve any opinion. You haven't read any of the books.
I'm not the guy who would completely defend Harry Potter. I'm not crazy, but
my
I'll defend
God.
La La Land to the grave. But
But Harry Potter, the way that I approached it was after we had written this, and I was like, I love it, but there are huge gaping holes or things that we, as the fans, either never let go of. For example, of, Harry, did you put your name in the goblet of fire? Like, we never let go of that. It's huge on the Tumblr pages, so...
what, are you talking about Sirius in the fire? Or what?
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 He doesn't
Are
understand.
you shitting me right now?
We don't have half an hour to explain the discrepancy between the book and the performance.
Yeah,
of
I told
Dumbledore
you.
in that one
I've
scene.
seen the movie.
No, it was in the fourth...
So what are your other questions,
Damn you.
Paul? I'm sure there's more.
Hey, if we tangent on a movie, all good here. All good here.
Oh, I am tangent. I'm talking about the fourth movie when he was like, Harry, did you put your name in the goblet of fire? But in the book, it says, Harry, did you put your name in the goblet of fire?
Did you
Calmly.
notice the difference between that?
You.
That was
I did.
pretty
Fuck you.
startling.
I did.
Oh my God. Everyone, Harry Potter people defend me.
I think it was an adjective
Didn't he,
difference.
but a fireplace yelled at him too, didn't
No!
Sirius Black was telling him, Harry Potter, put your name in the goblet of fire.
No, this
That's Gary Oldman got a credit for being at fire. It's different. I'll understand it's different.
Let's talk about Les Mis.
Let's. Because speaking of characters, you don't like Marius, do you? I've been watching your social media. You compare him to a glass of milk.
We do. I believe in the show we describe him as the weakest character in musical theater since Winthrop from The Music Man.
Oh, the wow sparkle wagon.
yeah.
That guy.
Not nearly as good as Winthrop from Trading Places.
No,
and again, I'm a movie guy.
different Winthrop.
Yeah.
But we make fun heavily of the weakest romance I think in any musical ever, which is the Marius and Cosette romance in Les Misérables. It's based literally on nothing. They bump into each other and then they're in love forever, and it's the stupidest thing.
Actually, in the movie, they don't even bump into each other. He sees her from across the street.
They effectively,
That's it.
That's it.
And how many times have you seen the show? Like, have you
Les
seen it at
Mis?
the stage show?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Many times? Or
You know what's really funny? Because I've seen
the
I mean,
once
a
for me.
handful of times. I saw it on Broadway again a couple of years ago. In fact, I was in New York for my day job company, and the CEO of our company was like, "Hey, I got tickets to the theater. We're seeing Les Misérables," and I was like, "That's the one show I hate. I'd rather see any."
I mean, free.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean,
but,
very thankful. It was very nice of him. But secretly, I was like, "Oh, I'm in New York only once every 5 years. I want to see any other new shows." But yeah, I've seen it a handful of times.
I'd seen a couple of professional versions and then a couple of high school versions, which are always great. As are any high school musicals are always fantastic.
Are there any horrors in it?
And ours, yes.
No,
we do.
here it's
version.
in high school. I'm just, that's. My favorite musical of all time is Jesus Christ Superstar, and I've never seen a great production of it. I listened to the London recording, and I was in love with the musical. It's amazing. I saw the movie, and I went, that was good, and I'm kind of in the world, and I get it. But I've gone to see it like 3 times. Every time I'm like, you guys just aren't crossing the finish line for me. I wish you were, because I need to see a great production of what I think is my favorite music to listen to of any Broadway show. Sure. I love that. But I veered away into Jesus Christ Superstar, but we should be playing Name That Les Mis.
Nice.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for another round of Name That Les Mis. Because Les Mis has been represented in so many different ways, in so many different places, we'll leave it up to you guys to name this or that Les Mis. So here, name this Les Mis.
Okay.
An hour before sunset, on the evening of a day in the beginning of October 1815, a man traveling on foot entered the little town of Digne. The few people who were then
Pretty
at their
easy. It's
windows
just
or
the
doors.
audio.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were like literally asking. No, it's an
the
audiobook
audiobook.
for
It's the
sure.
audio.
For a second, I was like, was this like the intro to
might
the
have been 46
what is it?
movie?
The Harvey not the Harvey Keitel, the what's it called, the Liam Neeson version?
The
I was
Liam
like, was there a narration in the beginning of that movie?
Right. I was thinking about that, but I was like, this is an audiobook.
No, he just
His
goes
long
on.
walk in the dust added an indescribable.
imagine.
This
How
audiobook would
many
have
pages
to
were the
be
part of the
40 hours long.
Oh my God.
Do you
The
know?
man
Do you,
must
if you
have
grab
been
that?
all day long
I mean,
to
the
hear
book.
pure
And
I can look right now. I have Audible.
the book is 650,000 words. It's one of the longest
Jeez.
single novels ever written, and it would have to be. I would think it would be 40 hours plus to have an audiobook on that.
Let's see. I'm gonna look for it.
Next Trump will be signing those.
Man.
Which was the best
Yeah.
for miles around.
Yeah, it's just.
And immediately went into the kitchen, which opened.
all right. So
Immediately.
anyway,
Oh, and by the way, did you notice that narrator does not have
It
a French
is
accent?
he doesn't. But he's also not Cockney.
67 hours and 53 minutes.
Holy
Good
crap.
balls. I don't think I
So-
could.
Even on Audible, when you can choose to listen to it and fast forward, there's no way.
I'm not in the
way.
car that much
No.
to warrant that because it's not sitting around the house listening to only type audiobook. Name this, Les Mis.
All right.
Universal Pictures proudly
I'm
presents
gonna answer to the
the
movie.
film you realized
What's that?
had absolutely no dialogue whatsoever.
Oh, this is
Only
the,
after you
Oh,
bought
this would be
your
the
ticket.
the
Les
movie
Misérables.
guy, right?
No. It's like the way it should have ended, but that's not. Oh, the real movie trailer. Real,
Honest trailer.
The honest trailers.
That's what I meant. Is the Universal guy? God
Yeah.
damn it.
Made a false report. We may have met.
Characters often singing about things that could be very easily done by just talking normally.
Yeah.
The-
Oh, I
amen
draw
to
some
that.
water from the well.
Hey there, monsieur, what's new with you?
Are you all right? Why did you go away?
Seriously, they sing everything.
Yep.
Yeah. And you don't know until you've bought your ticket. This is going to get very. Oh wait, you mentioned this one.
Do I let this fight
Can't
end
be it.
now?
Do
not interrupt
just
me.
to end this life of
Let me
pain?
finish what I need to
Will
say.
the enemy welcome now?
Fine, I'll let you finish
Yeah, this is
first.
the Key and Peele one. Yeah.
Be in vain.
Don't let me get in your way.
I only stole a loaf of bread.
I am finished
All
now.
I needed to survive.
Okay, now it's
if
my
I
turn.
end up in your cell,
Can we have some
why
give and
would
take?
I have stayed alive?
Let me get in a word at least.
Do I tell him that I love him? Do I tell him of his child?
Now where did this bitch come from?
I have no idea.
One at a time.
Yeah.
God, I love Key and Peele.
They are amazing.
I
when
love
when I
it
first
so
saw that
much.
sketch, I was like, well, we can't do that joke now.
Yeah.
We do a little bit of like, why are you talking over me? But
Yeah.
but we generally avoid it because like we hate repeating things.
That
we've
is,
seen,
that was
you
a
know?
big thing when we were writing it. When we broke it, we wrote it literally scene by scene, and we would do things like, we can't do that. We already did that kind of a joke. It wasn't even
Yeah,
that
yeah.
joke. We already did that kind. We're not doing it anymore. We hit everything once because we hate. And I'm sure other people hate seeing the same thing over and over and over again in parodies or just in any comedy that you're like, oh, we get it. That's the point. Okay, great. Nothing new. Okay.
My head hurts.
Yeah.
All right, what name of this, Les Mis? Where have you guys fashioned the music? Is there a piano player?
We hired someone to do the tracks originally for us. So
He's wonderful. His name's Devin Norris, and he's amazing.
he's legitimately amazing.
I love Devin because I'm a banana sandwich person, and he's a musical genius. And so sometimes when people are musical geniuses, they're like a little bit more reserved. And so we're in his little studio. It's very small, and he's just sitting there with the piano. I'm like, okay, Devin, this is what we need. And he's like, oh, do you mean this? And he'll just like whip it out, and none of the rest of him has moved except for his hands, and it's just genius. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. And he's like, yes, I know. And I love him.
This is the Broadway show.
I was gonna say I knew it was a staged version. It didn't sound like the movie. I didn't know if it was the 25th anniversary or if it was the 10th anniversary.
10th anniversary.
Oh, the 10 is a big one. Yeah, that was like the staged reading.
They
Wasn't
did
it?
a
Or-
25th was
25th one.
staged
25th
with
was
like
staged.
the four Valjeans, the four most recent Valjeans that were all did a four-way harmony of Bring Him Home at the end.
What was the one where it was Nick Jonas and it was
Yeah,
is
that
that
was-
the 25th?
Nick Jonas was in the 25th.
It was in the 25th,
No.
and but he was in one. It was like a concert one. Then, yeah, it was the concert one where it was Nick Jonas, and then it was Rebel Wilson, and then it was this other really famous British
She
actor.
met him to Nardier?
She was Madame Thénardier, and then this other really famous British actor that's he looks like an Eggman.
Looks like an Eggman.
Yeah!
Like an egg.
He
man.
was in he was in that thing with Bridesmaids. He was in Bridesmaids. He was playing Rebel Wilson's brother.
Eggman from Bridesmaids. I know who you're talking about.
You guys. He's a really famous actor.
Is it Chris O'Dowd?
No, it's not. Chris, I would know Chris O'Dowd.
I don't know. I'm
He's
trying to
not.
think of someone
He's
who's
not Irish.
eggish.
He's now. I'm gonna look this up right now.
go ahead.
I hate you guys.
Nick Jonas in Les Mis. Like if you just isolated him and just listened to him on his own, then like as a fan you'd probably be like that was fine. But like when you then put like a legit musical theater singer who sings those interstitial like here's a chair like right next to him. The comparison is so obvious, so hard.
That guy.
Oh,
Do you not recognize him?
No, he does look like an egg, but I don't know who he is.
See, fuck you guys. That guy.
This is
It's
really-
Rebel
Say who
Wilson
it
and
is?
him.
This is great
His
for
name
radio.
What? It's co-star Matt Lucas.
Matt Lucas.
Matt Lucas.
Yeah, I got
So
nothing.
him.
Egg
He's
guy.
really funny. But he looks like an Eggman.
The whole audience is given a resounding who?
Except for Matt, who's listening and
he's
slowly
crying.
yeah.
He's crying in the dark.
He was really funny.
Turning it up. That's good. No, I'm glad. But I give anybody a chance because I saw Man of La Mancha many moons ago with Sheena Easton, and I went, okay, here we go, because Raul Julia is like is Coyote. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a big deal, but then she's in it. She's great. I think it had a lot to do with the direction she was given, because I saw Jesus Christ Superstar. Guess what? Wasn't good with Corey Glover, lead singer of Living Colour. Guy's pipes are outstanding. Bad direction. So, but she was great. So I'll give anybody a shot.
Yeah.
When she impressed me, I said, all right, pop stars, jump in, jump out. We'll see. Wouldn't be my first choice. Because isn't the best performer in the whole Les Mis movie the Broadway star who played...
Enjolras.
No.
Yeah. That homeboy can sing.
No, but the girl,
no,
but
the girl.
played,
you mean Eponine.
The girl who played Eponine
I think so.
was the same one that played on stage in the 25th and in the movie.
Yeah.
And she is good.
Oh, yeah,
I think she's fine.
She's okay?
I didn't like her take, but the guy that played Enjolras had some peeps on him, and he could really, and it was, I thought he was the best one actually.
I liked Eddie Redmayne as Marius though. I thought he was great.
I'm gonna disagree with that.
I mean,
it's
so is
gonna
your
not
social
be.
media
But again,
page.
it's hard to make Marius likable because he's such a just milk toast character, and Eddie Redmayne is so charismatic, even in his like I'm weakness kind of thing.
Actually, we've never discussed this. I am not the biggest Eddie fan. I know that
Well,
that's really most
because
people
he's
leaks
not
into your
Harry Potter.
I was
isn't
going
it?
to say
I
it
think
leaks into your Harry Potter.
No, it actually
disappointment.
doesn't. No, I really can't. I don't like his singing voice because he sings a little bit like this, and I can't. I just
He sings like a Muppet.
and I recognize that that's a really bitchy thing to say because I'm sure he's a nice guy.
I will invite him over to see our show, and he does not have to look at you while you're on
Does
stage.
not, Eddie. You don't have to look at me. I'm sorry.
And this one is totally different.
Yeah. Ooh, this is so sick.
This sounds 80s. This is something from the 80s. Listen to that Cats music. Meow, meow, meow.
That's just a London production.
Oh. Was it
was
the
it?
80s London
The
production?
80s London production?
Oh, maybe.
Because
Yeah,
this
I
was
don't
written in the 80s.
Yeah.
Meow, meow, meow.
That's
meow,
what
meow,
always made me
meow,
nuts
meow,
about
meow.
Phantom of the Opera. I actually like the 80s vibe of that. And then it gets into all this opera. I don't like opera. And I'm like, oh, it's right there in the title. What am I doing here at this show?
I'm the opposite way. I just don't like phantoms. So I'm like,
Exactly. You should
well,
have
I
known.
missed that
We're
part.
idiots, is
Wow.
what we're learning. And what name that Les Mis?
I have exciting news, Monsieur le Maire. Paris is interested in my plan.
Is this the Liam Neeson
What
one?
plan is that?
Yeah.
That's Jeffrey
Did he
Rush.
do what? Was he in it?
Liam Neeson was Valjean in like the 91?
Why don't you tell me, Inspector?
98.
98.
I beg your pardon, I forgot.
Adaptation of the book, not the musical.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah, there was no singing.
I only know his work from the Lego movie.
Wow.
What, Liam Neeson?
Yeah!
You've been generationally handicapped.
He's in the Lego movie!
He is, and he's great, but you've not seen
But only
something called
ironically.
Schindler's List?
Like,
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
he has that role because of his history of the opposite types of.
yeah, he's a tough guy. So
Yeah.
I just like him as the cop.
he's so great. No, you're absolutely right. That movie's got 1,000 jokes in
It's
it.
just a weird entry into the world of Liam Neeson.
That's
You have to have seen that sketch with Ricky Gervais. And,
where he's the being
I want to
improviser.
do improvised comedy.
And then just I have AIDS. Yeah.
She's riddled with it.
Yeah.
African
God, it's
prostitute.
so funny.
Okay, that's all the acting of him, and I've heard that he is something about Taken. And
I
that's about
love
it.
Paul Newman, one of the greatest actors of all time. So good in Cars, right? That's the same type of take.
He was good in Cars.
He was good in Cars. It's true, but a little something called Cool Hand Luke, Butch Cassidy.
I mean, I
is
hear
staying
he's really going up in the world
perdition.
with that Cars thing. I think he's going to latch on.
Yeah, I think he's got a huge career ahead.
An
of
up
him.
and comer.
You know what? All right then.
I can give you the Liam Neeson to-do list for movies if you like. When we're done. When we're done, I'll give it to you. What you should see, absolutely, for sure. And then, of course, this happened.
Now, prisoner
601.
That is Russell Crowe.
When your parole's begun.
I only say that's ours
You know
because
what that means.
that's ours,
Oh,
baby.
man.
I'm free.
That is... I have so many thoughts on
Follow
this
to the
movie.
left of your
Let's hear some. I got one.
Yeah.
Because I'm not such a huge lover or I don't know the material so hardcore.
Sure.
I just know that they filmed with live singing.
Yes.
Which I think is a
Yeah.
great idea,
Yeah.
but not for
Yeah.
Russell Crowe.
Not for Russell Crowe.
Because he's a really good actor.
He
and
is.
when you made him sing and act, it didn't quite take.
It wasn't good. You can do that if you have all Broadway actors.
Yeah.
The end. And I'm even talking about people that can sing, like Anne Hathaway and even Hugh Jackman. I think that because Broadway singing is this different level of stamina. And I know that he's done some Broadway, but it's just this different level
rock
of doing
band
it
too,
over
right?
and over and
He's
over.
played,
Yeah, singing live is just because I thought that Hugh Jackman in Greatest Showman was amazing.
Yeah.
As a performer, like even just like the show itself, I was like, okay, you can take or leave if you do or don't like the plot of the show. But I was like, wow, look, he's so good.
But even in the movie of Les Mis, he is a better performer than the performance they got on Les Mis,
Yeah,
the movie.
and I think it's because they were doing this incredibly difficult thing, which was like listening into earbuds of like music that was being played miles away, probably or pre-recorded or whatever, and it was just.
There were so many moments that like you wanted him to go full belt and to like have that giant moment that they just didn't do, and they undercut a lot of things.
I mean, how many hours a day were they filming? You can only sing so many hours in a day, and when you're filming, you're doing 15 hours a day sometimes, and to do that same take over and over and over and over again, even on The Best Singer, is going to be vocally taxing,
Yeah,
and
and
it's
if you
not an
do-
easy show.
If you do the Broadway show, that's only 14 hours. So you're adding an extra hour.
Yeah.
on.
An extra hour.
Yeah.
But I can talk about what I think of it as just a movie. Like the cinematography drove me bananas because they were trying to do this feel of like you were right there, so the camera was shaking a lot and the angles were a little bit weird and it was like running down the hallway, and I was just like, you probably spent so much money on this. Make it a beautiful movie. Just fucking put the camera on a track and make it move, glide, and pretty. And they didn't. They kept like, yeah, we're following Jean Valjean down the hallway. Had all these weird jump cuts. I just watched this like 2 weeks ago. So I'm like,
Probably good.
so just even as a movie, I'm like, why? And I don't think that director's ever done anything
Oh, Tom
since
Hooper.
or before.
Since? Well,
it was like
King's
his
Speech
big.
before.
Oh, was it King's
Yeah,
Speech
yeah,
before?
Yeah, but
Won the
anything
Oscar.
reputable? I mean,
Yeah. Was there anything that even got to the
It's
Oscars?
the 4 Oscar-winning Best Picture.
But that I think was because he filmed it like a movie, where this one he was trying, I think, really hard to merge the worlds of musical theater, live, and film. And as much as I wish that they could cross over more correctly, I think that they are two different mediums. And you can do a musical well, like Greatest Showman, but they filmed it like a movie.
But did you feel slighted because he may have lip-synced? No. That's just how
No,
movies
you
have
were-
been made
No.
forever.
Because
so
I do that- how
so it
are
may
you
not
funny-
have been the best choice.
Like, and maybe for you, but I remember when Evita came out, the movie came out, and it was like, then it was a big deal that they were lip syncing, and people were like, well, why did you do that? And then that was just the normal, because that makes it better.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can concentrate on other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you're
performance.
filming, there's just a
lot
ton of
going
things going on. Yeah, actually, I would say not that the performance of the actors isn't the most important thing on set, but it's on the bottom of the list of things that are going on a professional movie set.
Right.
Because they're like worried about the lights, worried about the sound, worried about we have to read. We can't do any of that footage because we didn't like the vase in the background. Like we just like.
Too much smoke.
Yeah, and I've walked away as an actor and walked away with other actors that were like, they used my worst take, but it was because technically, regarding sound, lights, whatever, that was the best one, and the actor's performance was literally the least important thing, and that's just the nature of movies. So if they're also like trying to do live singing and live this, it's just it's too much in my opinion as a
It
actor
proved
performer.
to be.
Yeah.
It's not a good idea. But then when I saw it, I went, I think some people's acting was hampered.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think also in the movie there was I think there were elements that turning it into a movie made it difficult, like the way that they tried to taper the Thénardiers back from being such kind of large bombastic characters and having Sacha Baron Cohen and Helena Bonham Carter be a little more realistic in the
I thought
performances.
that they were. I thought
work.
it was the opposite. I thought that they were like extra. Where the reason why I didn't like the way the Thénardiers fit into that show was because everybody else was real and gruesome when they were doing the players like at the end of the day, blah, 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 and they're showing all the people with sweat and vomit, and it was disgusting. They're sitting in the sewers, and then it cuts to the Thénardiers, and they've got like big hair, and they've got like crazy makeup at the end in the wedding scene. She's got like the white makeup on her face, and nobody else has that. It's just them. She's got these glasses on, and I was like, why? They seem like cartoon characters in a world that they were trying very hard to be. This is the world of Les Misérables and the 18th century French people.
I meant more from the performance aspect, because normally like there's like they're the giant Cockney, like everything's and I thought their performances were both really pulled more into the you know, and I was like, well, this doesn't fit the characters. It doesn't. The characters are weird now. Like they're just kind of
they also
slimy.
didn't edit a lot of things that I was like, we could have cut that scene out. And I don't even just like Les Mis. I mean specifically in the movie where there was like a scene where right before Marius and Cosette meet, and the Thénardiers are there, and they grab Jean Valjean, and they put him into like a hallway, back alley hallway, and then they pull him out, and then Thénardier runs into Javert, and he does all of this like weird improvising, and the scene is really slow and it's really long, and it doesn't cut away, and you're just like, this is it was maybe a 4-minute scene of him just being like, so could you and it's supposed to be funny, but I was like, God, edit it out. There's just a lot of hiccups here and there, I think.
Yeah, my problem with it is it was nominated for Best Picture, but I just don't remember it. Like, I seriously didn't walk away like that. It's clearly the Academy, this is a nominee for Best Picture. Could probably just because sweeping.
Well, and also, I think it is impressive from a production
Impressive.
level. And that's one thing you always got to consider in movies is why is it good? Because, well, it is still an accomplishment to have done that with all the live singing. You know,
Yeah.
like it's still legitimately impressive to have done it.
Yes.
But I'd take this over that any day.
God has smiled upon you this day. The fate of a nation in your hands. And blessed
name that movie?
Yeah, I do know this.
fight with all our bravery till only the
Angela Lansbury.
righteous stand.
No.
You see the distant flames, they bellow in
Yeah,
the
this is
night.
South Park.
This is South Park.
Oh, I was like, I think this is a man, but he's being a woman, but maybe it's a woman that's all being a man.
The resistance lives on.
Yeah.
Oh,
to me,
yeah.
one of my favorite musicals of
It's
the
with
last 50
Pip,
years.
right? Is
Yeah.
Pip singing it?
This was the movie that turned me on to. This was the movie that turned me on to South Park. I never watched South Park for the first 4 years, I think, because I was like, this looks like just dumb gutter toilet humor. And then I saw this movie and I was like, fuck, these guys are smart. They know what they're doing with comedy. I'm gonna go back and watch all of this shit.
Wait,
Yeah.
is this the South Park movie uncut on
Correct.
whatever?
Bigger Uncut.
Oh, I haven't seen this one literally since the circus. It was it was a DVD in the
Oh,
bargain
it's
bin.
20 years old now.
And I brought it on because in the circus we didn't have. You just had your laptop with a DVD player. You had no internet, no Netflix or anything. So I scooped everything out of Walmart, and so I haven't watched it in years.
No, this is
now I hear it.
This is one of the great. I mean, they spoof Les Mis, they spoof
Oh.
Schoolhouse Rock, they spoof Disney.
This is
they
the one with
spoof-
Blame Canada, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Blame
Oh
Canada,
my
of
God.
course, was Oscar nominated.
Oscar nominated, and that was my favorite.
But Uncle
Oscar.
Fucker was the best song.
Uncle Fucker?
The Oklahoma spoof.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
That was my favorite Oscars dresses was Matt Stone and Trey Parker
Yeah.
taking ecstasy and then showing up in wigs and dresses to the
Specifically,
Oscars.
Jennifer Lopez's low-cut
I
cleavage
just
dress.
loved
And
it.
that was Robin Williams singing Blame Canada, right?
At the show, yeah.
Yeah.
They needed somebody.
God, I love everybody in that sentence.
But they lost to Tarzan, I think.
What?
I think that's
Well,
right.
Phil Collins laid it out. I will give him that. Phil Collins gave us his soul on that track.
The whole album's great. Yeah, I mean, he did a great job. But,
Yeah.
the South
I
Park
know.
songs were so great. And I think those guys, Trey loves Les Mis. Like, I think he comes at
yeah?
the spoof from, like, I love this, and I'm going
Sure.
to hammer it anyway because I love it. But I agree that, like, that was a good show, but the movie was beyond everything.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, they've peaked now. Now what?
Oh, no.
And I thought like 3 seasons ago was their best television season.
Was that the mono one where it was like all Soda Sopa or whatever it was?
Correct. Yeah, the one storyline that carried through the whole thing.
Ooh.
Soda Sopa with the.
With the
they so don't give a shit. They got rid of Principal Victoria and brought in a guy named PC Principal. Like they don't care. They just call him PC Principal. They just don't
and
care.
Strong Woman. Is PC Principal and Strong Woman. That's the. Have you not caught up?
I'm like a season behind.
Oh my God.
So it's too much good TV. Don't even start on
PC Principal has a counterpart, and it's Strong Woman, and that's literally her name.
See, they don't care.
And then at the last season, they ended every single during the credits. It says #cancel South Park.
Oh yeah, well that was their Billboard campaign.
I love them.
Yeah, I mean they're just too funny. But so while we're talking about now, we've moved on to movies, which is fine by me. Oh, I was going to talk because we got to know G last time she was here.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about Nate because I don't entirely know your background. Obviously, there's improv there, but you're also now an author for the first time.
I am an author for the first time, which is weird to say, but all coming from theater still. So in 2012, I wrote and directed a show at the Maverick. Which is called The Legend of Robin Hood, which in very much the same vein of what we're doing with Les Mis. Like I've hated Robin Hood, the story Robin Hood. I think it's generally a terrible story. And my partner at the theater.
Wait, why is that?
For all the reasons that I wrote the book, which is things like I hate the idea. I hate the black and whiteness of good guys versus bad guys, generally speaking. And I hate that Robin is always this unbelievably altruistic good guy, and the sheriff is always a mustache twirling villain, and that Maid Marian is usually this weak character that does nothing, and there's just so much that doesn't make sense about these guys just running around the forest shooting things, and so it started when my partner at the theater said, "Hey, we're trying to think of shows to do. What about a Robin Hood? Maybe there's some good scripts." And I said, "I hate Robin Hood. I don't want to do that." And he said, "Well, why don't you write your own?" And I said, "Okay." And that led to what's now 7 years later. So I did the show there. And it was just basically a more realistic version of Robin Hood, where everyone is not somewhere in the middle of being a good guy or bad guy. And then after it was done, again, it took off really well. Everyone loved it, and people all asked me, "What are you going to do with this now that the show's done? You're going to put it up somewhere else?" And in my mind, I said, "Well, actually, honestly, the right next step for this is to make it is to novelize it. Like the world, it worked on stage, but it was a larger world that I could dive into. So I spent a couple years writing a book, just kind of never having done that before. And I was like, maybe we'll see what happens. And then I spent a couple years trying to find an agent. And then that agent spent a couple years trying to find a publisher. And now all these years later, it finally worked out.
Did you get a good editor, or did you just kind of have good luck winging it all together?
I mean, as those years went by, morale was clearly going down. But I ended up with literally my dream publisher. Tor, the TOR Tor, they're the publishers. If you've read anything that's sci-fi or fantasy, it's probably through Tor. They are the kings of that the genre. And I remember when I was before I had an agent, I had sent a query to them directly because I knew that they were the ones. And I remember being terrified of that query because I'm like, if this comes back rejected, I know I lost that opportunity. And I got rejected by them, and it was terrible. Whatever. Skip a couple of years later when I finally have a literary agent, and he submitted. We got an editor through Tor to be interested, and that editor was like, she's like, "Oh man, this is the one." And so I'm like, "What?"
So would you call it revisionist?
I would definitely call it revisionist. It is but it's also it's in the genre of historical fiction is where they're putting it, because it is largely based on real history, which most Robin Hoods are not. You usually get a little bit of King Richard is in the Crusades, and that's about it as far as real. But I mean, one of the things that made me start off on that journey was when do you know what the name of the sheriff is? What's the sheriff's name?
Sheriff of Nottingham.
Sheriff of Nottingham.
His first name of,
right?
Last name Nottingham.
Yeah.
Like Jesus of Nazareth.
Yeah, exactly.
That
was a popular name back then.
I think Men in Tights was the only one that gave him a name with Mervyn.
God, Men in Tights was the best version.
And so that literally started
Alec?
my path. I just basically started research.
Mitch.
Was like, who was the real sheriff, and let's build it. Let me start studying and go from there. But anyways, it comes.
Because I'm sure it was more complicated actually in real life than it ever was by simplistic retellings of the story.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like Shakespeare really made told histories like in a complicated way. The rest of them got probably pared down over time to its most simplistic storyline, which by now sets you off.
It turns into folklore.
Can't
Yeah.
have it.
So I reset it. I went back to historical, and it comes out in I guess not a couple months, depending on when you listen to this. It comes out August 6th.
Yeah, well, we'll put this out right away. You guys open it.
If you're listening to this August 5th, it comes out tomorrow.
That's true. All right, so let's get on to movies.
Yeah.
Wait, did you say the title of your book?
The name of the book is.
I've seen it, but I never shared it.
The name of the book is Nottingham,
Oh, like the sheriff?
like the city.
Like,
God damn you. I was trying to. Never mind. I was going to do a. Fine, it's not a callback. Yeah, like the city. This brand new information.
What have you seen? Anything?
Movies
Been out?
recently?
Yeah, did you get out of the house?
I got a 2-year-old, so no. I saw How to Train a Dragon 3.
Okay,
and-
it's How to
Oh, you
Train
did?
Your Dragon.
I don't know, I didn't see
If
the
we're
first
gonna
two.
talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
I haven't seen it yet. I thought the second one was horribly depressing.
Yeah, that's how you know it's good, because it's a cartoon. Okay, let's talk about the first one then.
First one I thought was fantastic.
This one's amazing, and for me, it's really because John Powell does the score of it, and it's my favorite score. There's specifically, I'm looking directly at the camera, specifically when
so bad for
he
anyone
gets-
watching.
Shut up. when he rides the dragon for the first time, and they're going over like in and out, and he's trying to work on the foot movements with the pedal that he has to do the tail thing with. That particular section of the score, and it's got this little Scottish sounds over it. It's just so good. John Powell, you sexy bastard.
The score is very good.
The score is
yeah.
very
It is.
good.
It's in on my mix of writing music.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
you play scores?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, when I was at high school, when I was at college, and I did a film music class, and we had to talk about, like, what's your favorite score? And everyone was like, Lord of the Rings, and John Williams, and da-da-da. And I was like, those are all great, but I think you're all missing this diamond in the rough over here, which is, because everyone played these, like, Schindler's List, and da-da-da-da-da-da, and you're like, okay, but now we're all going to watch a dragon scene.
That's my favorite part of Schindler's List when it went.
Yeah.
That's Liam Neeson, just so you know.
Shut up.
God,
Was he in that? Oh, no.
Lego Movie's Liam Neeson in
Schindler's List.
Schindler's List.
As the dancing polka player.
Oh, God. So
But 3
how
is good because I'll go. I mean, I'm definitely gonna.
Having not seen 1 and 2, I wasn't in love with 3. I thought it was fairly
didn't?
just a normal movie.
Wait, 2-year-old, you didn't see 1 or 2 either?
Well, I mean, he's seen lots of Disney movies and stuff, but it was literally like, I have 3 hours. I got to get out of the house with this kid and do something with him. Oh, a movie's playing.
Yeah, well.
I'm sure he appreciates that.
Although we did love Wreck-It Ralph too. That was
that was really good.
I loved it.
There's a lot going on in that movie.
Yeah, that was a good metaphor. Clearly on not hiding itself at all as far as self-destruction and whatever.
Yeah.
But I thought it worked wonderfully.
Yeah, because of course kids are just like, look at them dancing around, and you're an adult. You're just like, Jesus Christ, this is my life on screen.
Your insecurities
Your
are overtaking
These
you.
animated movies are packing
Yeah.
themselves with references of pop culture and jokes, and just they move so lightning
know-
quick. I almost have to. You got to see Ralph Breaks the Internet and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh,
That's
that
what
is
I've
the
heard.
best.
Twice. You got to
did-
see them twice.
I did
I
see
haven't gone
Spider-Man.
a second time, but I'm like, I got to see these movies.
It won an
again.
Oscar, right? Best animated? Yeah.
That one I did see twice with the kid. Yeah.
So much going on in
It's
this.
a unbelievable movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I have had 0 time, but I want to see it because it looks amazing.
Any thoughts on the Oscars?
I
I mean, they were a few weeks ago now.
I would have loved if. Was Spider-Verse for? No, Spider-Verse wasn't up for Best Picture.
No,
It was
in
just
fact,
animated,
ever since
right?
they created the animated category, and the foreign language category has been around forever, but I don't think either of those films will win Best Picture. And sure enough, when Roma won foreign language, I said probably not going to win Best Picture.
Yeah.
Not going to win both.
Yeah.
They've given it the award it's going to get, and they'll give it to something else. Still, Green Book surprised me. I thought if they weren't going to give it to that, it would be, I don't know, I forget what the hell else was nominated already. But but it was, because I would have given it to Vice.
I had a big conversation with somebody about it because also Black Klansman was up for,
yeah.
and I know a lot of people actually didn't see it. It went under the radar, and I think it was a really important movie for people to see in this day and age because it is about true events that happened. I think it's in the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, Nixon era.
I think it's like 68 maybe. And then it ties it in a very, I won't spoil it, but it ties in a very real way to at the end.
Yeah,
If you
we're
haven't
having a
seen
lot
it.
of fun with this cop story, but at the end, Spike Lee's like, by the way, I got a closing argument for you.
And it's really...
And it's a punch in the face.
And it really was. And I saw it twice. And the first time I saw it, there was 3 scenes where I just had tears falling down my face. And I was like, what do I do? What am I doing? I'm sitting in this theater. What can I do? What do I do? I need to fix this. I need to go outside and fix something. And so one of my friends who's she's an Emmy-winning director, writer person, she's up there, and she was like, I think Green Book won over something like Black Klansman because Green Book was a story. I haven't seen Green Book, but she said it was a story of hope as opposed to Black Klansman, which was like, oh, God.
Anger,
and
yeah.
so in an idealistic version of what Hollywood glitz and glamour is at the end of the day, hopefully people want, the thing of hope rather than the thing that depresses you. Even if one was better for this reason or it needed to be seen for this reason. And because she was very upset that Black Klansman didn't win. And I was like, hey.
So was Spike.
So as I heard that he turned his back.
Not cool. But,
oh, buddy.
Yeah. I love him. Do the Right Thing, Malcolm X, I think, are masterpieces. But, dude, come on.
Yeah.
They just gave you an Oscar. And, I mean, but as soon as Green Book and Black Klansman won the script awards, that's another reason I didn't think Green Book would win, because usually they give Best Picture to the thing they think is artistic, and then they give the scripts to the movie everybody likes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
it's like that's where your Goodfellas or your things like that, like Get Out, won there, didn't win Best Picture.
Right.
Everybody loved Get Out. Well, we're giving it to whatever the hell won last year.
I mean, as a nerd, I was in the camp of I want Black Panther to win because I want all the superhero and the action movies to win things. Because going back to when Return of the King won, I was like, that's a win for nerd culture. Yeah. Even though I don't think Black Panther was the best movie, even
still
though
3 awards,
MCUs, but still good awards. Yeah.
Yeah, as South Park pointed out.
I didn't see that episode.
Oh my God, where Cartman goes out and he's like, can we all just admit, it was a good movie, but everyone's acting like they've never seen a movie before. Cartman's words, not mine.
Yeah. Well, to me, it was the 3rd best superhero movie of the year. Good year for superhero movies, behind Spider-Verse. And I know you were big on Infinity War, but I liked it.
Oh, no, I was big on
you were?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, my rants on line are usually all tongue-in-cheek. I love Infinity War.
Okay, that was my number 1 movie of the year.
But what
an achievement.
I would put Ragnarok into that list as well.
That was the December before, so that technically was...
Well, I thought it was March.
No, that was... Black Panther was February.
I know it was.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So many things happened.
Yeah.
So many things happened.
But Marvel doesn't
last
screw
year.
around. They get everything right. They opened Captain Marvel on International Women's Day.
Yeah, they did.
And it's the 3rd... It's gonna be there are going to be 3 more movies this year because you'll have Endgame and then Spider-Man comes back again, Far From Home. I mean, I'm a big fan of Marvel and what they're doing.
I love them.
Yeah.
I love them.
Oh, hey, remember that time that I said I like Lego Movie and everybody shit all over me?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
No, we shit all over that. That's how you know Liam Neeson.
You know what?
Yeah. Everyone likes Lego Movie.
So then, let me ask you what we ask everybody. Oh, I also saw Captain Marvel. Anybody else see that?
No, me and my wife literally almost snuck out last night, and we didn't get a chance to. We didn't get a babysitter in time. Although, retroactively, I'm glad we did not, because we did not find out until this morning that daylight saving existed. And would have been an even
I can totally recommend it. Solid Marvel entry. And it's good to see Sam Jackson back. Nick Fury's kind of been out of the storyline for a while. And he's got a huge role in this, and he's really funny. But let me ask you, we ask everyone who comes on the show what their favorite movie is of all time. But before we get to Nate's, I want to revisit yours, G, because it was
Someone's in Trouble.
Previously, it was Aladdin,
Yes.
and Hercules,
Yes.
the animated films
Yes.
from the '90s
Yes.
from Disney.
Yes.
But first of all, you've compared Les Mis and Aladdin on your social media account
We did for stealing a loaf of bread.
Stealing a loaf of bread.
Yes.
It's a good, popular inciting incident.
Are you excited for the live action Aladdin?
No! How it's really complicated. I actually am very much against all of these live action versions of things. There are some things where you're like, just leave. They're talking about doing a new a live action Nightmare Before Christmas, and of course everyone's like, what? No, I know. See your faces. I know it's a radio or a podcast thing, but like how you're just like, oh no, my heart. And that's how I feel about all of these animated cartoons.
It's a nostalgia grab.
I know it's a nostalgia grab, and it's driving me bananas. I can't wait for it to be over. But Aladdin and Hercules are still my top two movies. But I'll go the opposite route and talk about a movie that just I haven't sat there with fists clenched where I was like, God, why do I hate this so much?
Your most hated movie?
It was, I don't know if I can't justify exactly why I hate it, but I just remember feeling so viscerally angry the whole time. So Kelly Rogers, who's also in our cast as epinephrine, she and I saw.
It's funny.
Yep.
The months
You've heard it so
leading up-
much that you forget. That's fun.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know we
that's
just say
funny.
it.
It's
Let
like,
the outsider tell you. That's pretty funny.
Thank you.
Thank you. I saw not Ender's Game. Oh my God, what's it called?
We can't tell you which movie you hate.
The one
We
about
don't know
video
this yet.
games. The one about video games.
Yeah.
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One. Okay, so leading up to it, I devour audiobooks like nothing else. I'll go through probably 2 or 3 a month. And so I saw that was coming out, and my friend was like, I really like that book or whatever. And so I was like, I'm gonna read it. And the whole time I was like, I can see why people like this book. It's very 80s. Like, I remember growing up in the 80s and playing video games. I can see whose audience it was, whatever. So we went to go see the movie like the opening day, and I was just like, they are taking an already really shitty book and they're making it way worse. And I was so mad the whole time because it looked fucking weird. The graphics were weird. And the girl sucked balls. At least in the book, she was like better than him. And she told him that. She was like, I'm better than you at this. And you wouldn't have achieved this if I hadn't literally let you. And that's how it ends. And I was like, yeah, what a badass bitch. Bruh. And in the movie, she's just like, I think you're super cute. We can't do this without you. And I was like, that fucking hoe. Oh my God. So that movie was the first, and Kelly and I walked out of there and we're just like, the fucking movie, I'm so mad. So even to this day, it's been like 2 years later, I still have this visceral like,
It's only been one, but it
Ready
feels like
Player
2
One.
now.
Is it really?
Yeah, it came out like March last year.
God, I was so mad. I didn't even love the book, but that's how mad the movie made me. I
Well,
think
the
it's
book's
good.
always going to be better, which is why I stopped reading them, because I love movies. Of course, Nottingham. I'm going to read Nottingham.
Why, thank you.
after that.
I think that the movie of Ender's Game was way better.
Avengers
than
Game?
Avengers
Game.
Ready Player One.
Avengers.
But I do love the book Ender's Game.
But I think the movie of Ready Player One. I didn't like the movie Ready Player One. It was fine for nostalgia and for stuff. It was fun, whatever. I didn't think it was amazing, but I do think it was much better than the book, and that is all I am legally allowed to say.
If you were to read any of these books you only had 2 hours to read it, it would suck. You know, like try and read Les Mis in 2 hours.
Precisely.
Not going to happen.
That's-
But if you watch a movie in 2 hours, you're going to get a pretty good idea of what it's all about. Follow me on that. You're with me on that. You know you are. So let's get to Nate. What is your favorite movie of all time?
So I would prefer to break them into genres because it's hard
How
to say.
many?
So let's say 5. Let's say take 5 because if you say like if you have a favorite like action adventure movie and you have a favorite romance, like how do you compare those two and say, well, this is better than that one? They just aren't comparable.
That's
right?
why Best Picture is weird, because if they all made the same movie, then you could pick which one was best.
Yeah.
Who made the best Green Book? Warner Brothers.
So I'll go with some weird. So let's go romance first. Romance, and this isn't even like romance, but I would go Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
That's
Oh.
romance.
One of my top 5
get it.
of all time.
Romance through an
Absolutely.
eclectic lens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is a genius movie. And
Yeah.
then let's go one over. I'll go favorite comedy of all time. And this is a very little known one. It's called The Imposters. With
Adrian Brody?
No.
Oh, wait, I know. It's Stanley Tucci and Campbell Scott.
Campbell Scott and
Yeah.
Oliver Platt and Steve Buscemi and Billy Connolly.
I never saw it. That was the Big Night follow-up.
It was before. Yes, it was after
Yeah.
Big Night. Yeah, oh,
That's
it's
great.
So good.
Oh, cool.
I think I like it because it's very stage comedy. It's very much like it feels like an old
Farce?
Yeah,
Right.
it's definitely Farsi. That sounds like it's
Farsi?
the wrong language.
Farsi.
It's just an adorable comedy, and I think I love every single character they do in there. It's you can just tell it's a bunch of character actors doing what character actors are good at doing. It's amazing.
French neoclassic. What is your take in Best Picture in that?
I would go with Le Petit Jean de
Mumblecore. What is your favorite?
What else can I go with? If we go, we'll go foreign. And this may be a larger genre, but Run Lola Run will always be in my top 5.
movie.
God, like that movie just has. Like I remember the first time I watched Run Lola Run.
Have you not seen it?
Never even heard of these words.
Most people,
None of
most
these
people don't know this
words.
one. I was making a sandwich, and my roommates started the movie, and I literally stood there with like the piece of bread in my hand the entire movie. Like just standing, watching over his
An
shoulder.
unfinished sandwich.
Unfinished sandwich.
Yeah.
It's just such an electric, like, let me grab you and hold you movie.
This movie is an unfinished sandwich.
Yes.
Be a new way to describe the quality of a film. I like that.
Worth 5 unfinished sandwiches on the score.
But that could also cover your action movie. In a way.
In action movie, I go Aliens.
Ooh, that's good.
Plural?
Yeah.
As opposed to Alien?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aliens, sci-fi horror.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alien is sci-fi horror. Aliens,
action horror.
Action.
Yeah.
My scariest movie, and it still haunts me to this day, Snow White. When she's running through the woods and the logs turn into alligators and the trees turn into eyes and have clawed arms. It still haunts me to this day.
I can't tell if that was a sentence or just random words that escaped your mouth on accident.
It's horrifying. Imagine being 5 and the parents are just like, go into the woods, forget what you just saw on Snow White. La 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 la.
And you didn't mention Will Smith as the genie. I thought for sure that would come up.
I am.
Do you know that he did other roles before he was in the live-action Aladdin?
He was in Schindler's List,
Yeah.
for one.
Was it in Schindler's List?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that movie. What do you want from me?
No, I don't know. If you
Okay.
liked it. I don't think.
Oh.
I think Guy Ritchie. This was greenlit before King Arthur came out. Because Guy Ritchie's strong point is not like fantasy. I don't think. I mean, because I think they need to do with him what they did with M. Night Shyamalan. Shyamalan went off and did the big Airbender, After Earth,
And it was
and it's like bring him back to what he's good at. Bring Guy Ritchie back. I bet you if Guy Ritchie made a crime drama right now in the realm of Snatch and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, it'd be awesome. Hook him up with Jason Blum. Put the budget at $15 million. It'd be great.
Okay, wait.
Don't have him do more Aladdins.
You've said it. You've said it. I forgot. I totally forgot because I blocked it because it hurts my heart. It hurts my soul. Avatar: The Last Airbender. What is
it above or below Ready Player One?
No,
I feel like there's a rage cloud.
It's not even like now. Ready Player One seems like a brilliant, fucking beautiful piece of pretty. Okay, so Avatar: The Last Airbender, the cartoon. Has anyone seen it?
I don't know.
Oh my God,
No.
it's the best. It's the best show I've ever seen.
Really?
Ever. I will even say.
I don't know. Since January 1st.
Game of Thrones.
I've been binging.
I know, and we love Game of Thrones.
I've got 2 episodes. There's your next puppet parody.
I love Game of Thrones.
No, I won't touch it.
Won't touch it.
Yeah.
No?
I don't think there's anything to make fun of. Like I don't think that there's a line. Again, we go with Les Misérables. Like our angle is that we need to destroy things about it that don't make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would want to attack on Game of Thrones because the respect is too high.
I think I think they
that show
nail
is
it.
unbelievable. But anyway, you like Airbender.
So
Game of Thrones, a brilliant piece of magisterial TV. Anyway, you like a cartoon?
Shut the fuck up! It's a brilliant cartoon. Okay, because the writing is immensely, it's so good because it nails things on a comedy level. The writers and animators paid attention to all different styles of different kinds of martial arts and fighting to give each type of bending its own style. Like on camera, the fights are amazing and beautiful, and each person has their own style of fighting and their own specialized weapon. And the archetype story, it's just so good. And then they nail things on a comedic level, and then they break your heart a handful of times. And the best thing for me is that, just like in Game of Thrones, 0 of the women suck. All of the women on Avatar: The Last Airbender, just like in Game of Thrones, fucking kill it. And in Avatar, there's the Fire Lord, and he's like the villain, but the scariest villain is actually his daughter. She's like the fight that everyone's like, oh, I don't even care about the main fight. I want to watch that girl fight. Ugh. So when Shyamalan vomited out that movie, that an excuse of a movie. Oh God! And I went to the midnight premiere with the other nerds. Went to the midnight premiere. We're all dressed up. This is again in the age of like Harry Potter, where people are like, we're going to midnight premieres and dressing up.
Oh, I used to go to lots of midnights.
Yeah,
Wow.
and so the audience was full. Everyone's buzzing. It's da-da-da-da-da. We're 8 seconds into the film. Voiceover from Katara goes, "Oh, we found the boy in the iceberg. His name was Ong. His name's supposed to be Aang." And you felt everyone in the audience go,
Oh, no.
and you felt it. And when the lights came back on, everyone was sitting there, and I've never heard such a loud, silent buzzing in my life. Literally, it was like in a room of angry bees. It really was, because nobody moved, nobody left. Everyone was like, "I'm gonna sit here and watch this goddamn show."
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
It happened with me after Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh, okay.
Number 1 movie of all time, Raiders. Worst movie I've ever seen, Crystal Skull. That's the laziest. And when that was over, like I sat there. I'm like, what do I do? How do I go home? How do I pretend to watch movies?
That was a hard night.
That was a hard.
I have a lot on that list then of the nights of the anticipation versus the payout. I directed at the Maverick again, a production of The Hobbits, where we did a fairly faithful adaptation of the actual novel.
You guys think big there. They're currently doing King Kong, right?
I know, yeah,
Crazy.
very much so. We like big movies, and so that cast ended up becoming like as tight knit as the guys who played the Fellowship in the movies were, right? So we as a cast went to go see The Hobbit when Peter Jackson's first one came out. And I just remember afterwards the credits rolling and all 14 of us just looking at each other like, what happened?
I think that's
How
exactly...
could someone mess it up so bad?
We all felt it, though. The whole Lord of the Rings fandom was like, wow. And he spent years on the first ones. He obviously loved him. It was practical effects. It was amazing. And then after The Hobbit, and did you guys see that viral video that went around of Sir Ian McKellen, like, just kind of having not a breakdown, but it was because he was doing that scene and it was him and a bunch of tennis balls, and he like got up and left and was like, I am not an actor to act opposite of tennis balls, because he was so sick of CGI in those movies. Because he had just come from Lord of the Rings, where they were like, we don't care what it costs, we're doing practical effects because it fucking looks better. Where they even made like those tables that were all weird to keep the visual perspective.
It was great.
It was amazing.
That's me with Indiana Jones. I will fly you to Tunisia.
Yeah.
Get dysentery. Make it real.
Yeah.
I don't want to wish dysentery on you, but go get it.
But like, go get
Because
it.
it's better than the studio you shot off those scenes in that were
On the
supposedly
green
in the
screen.
desert.
Yeah.
They're not. Yeah.
So I think the whole world agreed with you guys on the Hobbit films, where we're like, oh no, oh no, why?
My biggest, I mean, I could talk for hours on this, but I think my first giant red flag on the Hobbit ones was after they leave the Shire and they're traveling, and the two mountains.
Mountains! That was mine too! Oh
And the
my
what?
god!
The two mountains fight, and so in the novel, it describes this thunderstorm, and it describes them basically as a metaphor, as if like the mountains themselves were fighting.
Yeah, it said the thunder sounded like the mountains.
Yeah.
It was literally a line.
Yeah,
A line.
and so they chose to turn that into, in the movie, literal mountains standing up and destroying each other.
can.
And they spent so much money on
But
it.
for me, the problem is that if you exist in a world in which it is possible for mountains to stand up and fight, and that is not a unusual thing for you to witness, then nothing else in the movie is ever terrifying. Nothing.
Yeah.
Like
Not even the dragon.
Those mountains could have destroyed the Balrog from the first one. But remember when the Balrog showed up in Fellowship? That was the most horrifying thing anyone had ever imagined before. But now these hobbits, did you know that you live within 5 minutes walk of mountains that get up and just clobber each other? Like it destroyed any sense of gravity that the movie could have given.
Well, I don't hate to, but I will now compare the Hobbit trilogy to Transformers.
Okay.
Because wasn't the second movie where like a Transformer was sort of disguised as a person? And then they let it go. Like a Transformer, like something came out of the person's mouth and you realized it was... and like, why do we need to do 3 movies about how now they're among us.
Yeah.
And they just dropped all that and went on to do their movie.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't introduce that big switch in the world and then let it go.
Oh my god, that's exactly how I feel about the third Harry Potter movie, when Harry's under his blanket and he's singing Loomis, and they're like, I bet you this will look super fucking cool. And we're all like, what just happened in the second one, literally right before, when Dobby did a spell in the house and Harry almost got kicked out of fucking school, but now he's just allowed to do Loomis at the Dursleys' house? I'm sorry.
How do you
everybody.
feel about Fantastic Beasts?
Shut up. Let's not.
That's a whole nother show.
It's a whole other show. I could go on for
whole
years
other
about
show.
that.
And this show, though, however, is pretty much coming to an end, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
That's the end of our talk.
Oh god, come see Les Mis and buy Nottingham on the book.
Do we plug our websites? Is that what we do?
Les Miz and Friends. Now, you were also goofing about how everybody misspells Les Mis on one of your social posts.
Yeah.
And there's a big debate, online debate. Is it MIS or MIZ?
MIZ.
Did you put a little accent on your E because Victor Hugo did?
For greatest.
No, and John Viet.
Yeah. When I grew up, when I came out of the womb, and I was like,
I wanna
Victor
be-
Hugo!
I want to be just like him.
Dude.
Les Miz and Friends, LESMIZ, and Friends.com. Social is Les Miz AF. That's at Twitter and Instagram, and Les Miz and Friends is your Facebook.
Les Mis and Friends is Instagram.
Oh, Les Miz and Friends. Sorry.
Yes.
Twitter is the only one that's Les Miz as fuck.
That's right.
And your phone number for the Hudson Theater is 323-960-7784. I don't know if it's the number for the theater, but it's the number for the tickets.
Correct.
Yes.
And you can go to the Friend Zone if you want to sit up close and get the best seats and arrive just before time and not have to jockey for position.
Yeah, and they get a couple of like surprises and goodies.
Yeah.
That sounds like that sounds terrifying. You get things like swag. There you go.
And for us here at The Movie Guys, follow us on Twitter at The Movie Guys, Facebook.com/The Movie Guys, YouTube, Instagram, all that nonsense for daily jokes, articles, media, links, and more. Thanks to G and Nate.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you very
we all
much.
gonna clap? Nope. Nobody else
just
clapped.
Me, just me.
I clapped.
And it's everything you can find everything we're up to at themovieguys.net. Thanks, guys.
Whee!